Hello, my Truebies. My name is True, and you are now tuned in to Truebies Guide Podcast. So if you are just joining us, like this is your very first time, this is a podcast where we pretty much talk about life, we talk about business, and then tools to navigate through those things to just ultimately meet your goals. Today, we're going to be talking about cutting out the fluff. Like, we have too much fluff. When oftentimes we're trying to deliver a message, whether it's to our kids, whether it's inside of an email, or whether it's through our marketing and our business, we are putting too much fluff inside of the story instead of getting straight to the point. So today's episode, we're cutting out the fluff and we're going to just dive deep into it. If you've been rocking with me for a while, I appreciate you as usual. I appreciate you for rocking with me. I appreciate you for tuning in to A Truebiiiiiiies Guide. I appreciate you for submitting questions to get answered. And let's continue to grow. Don't forget that you can submit questions by following me on Instagram at _true.lee. That's TRUELEE. It's also on the screen down there, right there, one of those ways, right? So make sure you are submitting your questions, also submitting feedback on the show, right? So let's get into it, right? So I went to Queen I Am's Girl Brunch over the weekend. It's something that Feed the Soul, my nonprofit, was a sponsor for. And so I went to the event to enjoy it. And also my daughter came along with me. Now, the brunch was about financial literacy and providing the girls with not only tools, but also with putting them in a space with other women and young girls who thought like them or was having some of the same difficulties that they were. But also to prepare them like for life. So Huntington Bank was in the building, right? And Huntington Bank put this simulation up called Reality Days. And Reality Days was basically, they gave you this lifestyle and they said, like, this is how much money you make. This is what your credit score is like. This is how many kids you have. And then they give you all of these options. Now, your options vary. You have the option to live in an apartment. You have the option to live in a home. And then your pricing of how much you are paying for these things all vary based off of like what your credit score is. And as we're going through the simulation, you got some of the girls who are just like, dang, I want to get my kids back because I can't afford my lifestyle. And so I thought like, dang, this is really real life. Like, this is really what we go through on a day-to-day basis. So I wanted to go over some of the tactics and tools that they provided us with because I was in there taking notes myself, y'all. So one of the things they went through was SMART goals, which, you know, got me excited because I'm always talking about goals. And a SMART goal really breaks it down to making sure that your goal is specific. Make sure that the goals you are setting are specific goals. You know exactly what it is that you are going after. Make sure that they are measurable. Can you measure it? If I start here and my end goal is to end up here, how am I looking back to measure how far that I've come, right? Is it attainable? Is it attainable for me to go from here to here? If so, like, if not, what roadblocks or barriers are in my way right now? So you got to think about those things. Is it relevant? Is it relevant for me to go from here to here, or should I actually be going that way? So making sure that your goals that you are setting and make sure and ensure that they are a SMART goal, you want to make sure that they are specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and then timely. Can you obtain this in a timely fashion? Like, is this a goal that you are looking to set and reach within a 3-year time period, 2-year time period, 12 months, 6 months? What is the time period for it? And do you need longer to go from here to here? Are you saying I'm going to go from point A to point Z in 12 months, but you really need 2 years? So you need to think about those things. So that way, if you set a realistic time period for the goals that you are looking to obtain, then you're not going to feel overwhelmed or stressed if you don't meet it in a certain time period, or if it seems like it's taking you a little bit longer, because you already know, hey, I gave myself at least 10 years to obtain this goal instead of 12 months. Because I understand. So, for example, I'm currently on a journey to get my PhD. And I know that this is going to take me 8 years. But I'm giving myself 10 because I don't know what hurdles are going to occur in that time period that I'm giving myself. Yes, it takes me 8 years to get my PhD. However, anything may occur, and I have to be realistic about that because that's the reality of it. And I would rather prepare for it and it not happens than for me to not prepare for it and it do happen. So that's something to just remember. So what are the important factors when you are creating a SMART goal? Let's jump into that real quick. It blew my mind. I guess it was just a surreal thing for me to be like, this is really reality, because when I looked at it, when they gave a certain occupation, they gave how much you make, I seen myself in some of those things, and it's like, dang, these are really some of the struggles that I face or have faced. And so it was just a mind-blowing experience to go through that simulation. So the important factors: money. How much money you make is an important factor. No, money is not everything, but money is an essential tool, and we talked about that last podcast. And so in order to take care of your family and to navigate through this 3D realm, you actually need money. So how much money you make will affect everything from the type of clothes you put on your body, up into the type of food you put in your body, and everything else, the type of entertainment you seek or you are exposed to, the education you are exposed to, and everything else. How many kids you have, you have can determine how much money you have to pay or what your expenses are going to be. And then your credit score. Your credit score is going to determine what you have access to and how much of it you have access to. So all of those things are important factors to continue to think about. Now, I want to pause on this credit score piece real quick, y'all, because, and I got my notebooks out today because, like I told y'all, I was taking notes in there, and it was essential to do. It was essential to do because while I knew a lot of these things, they dove deeper in, and I didn't know. So I wanted to break down this thing about credit score. So even though we knew, like, okay, 500 something, that's like a poor credit score, but did you actually know what's poor, what's fair, what's good, what's very good, what's excellent, right? So a 300 to a 579 is poor credit score. So if you have a 579 or below, that is poor credit score. Now, we are talking about personal credit right now. I'm not going to dive into business credit on this one. We just going to talk about personal credit. Now, you know that with business credit, you can get a lot of things in your name without using a personal guarantee, and that's where people are always talking about you don't need good personal credit if you have a business credit and all of those things. And while those things are true, a lot of accounts still do need a personal guarantee, even if you do have a business account. So whether you building business credit, whether you are getting away with having poor personal credit and building and getting things in your business credit name, it's still essential to go back and build that personal credit as well, because you do need it. It's essential, right? So a 579 and below is poor credit. Then 580 to a 669 is fair credit. So if you have a 580 to a 669, that's where you can probably walk off of the lot and pay like a $250 car note and things of that nature. You have a little bit better access, right? Now, in the simulation, it's one before that. 670 to a 739 is good credit score. 670 to a 739 is good credit score. That means we moving up the ladder. That means we have a lower interest rates now, meaning that if we borrow money from somebody, every time you borrow money from somebody, so even on your credit cards, everybody think like, okay, that's free money. It's not free money. It's the bank loaning you money, right? And so every day that you have the money out, they're charging you an interest rate on that money. And so that interest rate can be 0.25%, 1%, 3%, and so forth, however much the money you have borrowed out on, right? And so what they're basically telling you is that when you have better credit score, then those interest rates then become lower, meaning that instead of paying a 2.3 or a 10% interest rate, you down paying a 1% interest rate and things of that nature on the money that you have borrowed out, right? So now in the simulation, I had very good credit. I had a 750. So 740 to 799 mean that you have a very good credit. And so when it came down to like purchasing a home and things of that nature, I was able to purchase a home for like $1,000. But then we had like this little trick in there. It was like, well, if the gender of your kids are the same, then you can just get a 2-bedroom instead of a 3-bedroom. So I ended up spending like $750. But anyways, my credit score was $750. So $740 to $799 is very good. $800 to $850 is exceptional credit score. That means that you could probably walk off the lot not paying anything until it's time for you to pay your car note or a lease, and then you're definitely paying the bare minimum. That means that you can use OPM, other people's money, to start those businesses, to jumpstart those ideas, to grow those ideas, to maintain that business. That 800, that very good credit score, gives you access to so much more, even if you don't have the funds. So that was one of the things that simulation was just like mind blowing to me, like how much it really matched reality. So I'm like, let me go back and tell my Truebies this, because we gotta add this to the guide. And I'm like, I'm gonna have to add a budget sheet to a Truebies guide workbook. To the Ultimate Truebies Guide workbook, I have to add a budget sheet. So it's no other way around it. We have to add a budget sheet because finances is essential to this, but understanding why you have to budget your money the way you do and what things you need to include in your budget is also essential. Now I want to break down into if money wasn't a factor. If money wasn't a factor, this is the question that was asked. If money wasn't a factor, what would you be doing? And so my answer was, I would be traveling the world talking, I would be learning, and then I would be going to educate other people about what it is that I am learning. If money wasn't a factor, and I would be taking my family with me. So like my children, they would be having a homeschool coach or something like that, and we would be out and just learning and engaging with the world, because I just think that's dope. I think that when you get out there and you expand yourself and you run into different people who know different things than you, then that's how you grow your own brain, and that's how you contribute to society better. I think that's why I have this desire into public health and like this big craving of learning people and learning like what do we need to thrive and what do we need to succeed, because ultimately if I know how I can contribute to the world, then every person that I run across, I'm going to teach them those positive things as well. Every offspring that I have, I'm going to teach them those things as well. Like I know y'all heard the thing about how like, you know, when you educate a woman, you're educating a nation, and that's really true, because every person I come across, I'm going to give some form of information. So I would love to just fill myself up with as much as I can, so that way I can pour that back out. And so that's, if money wasn't a factor, that would be a big thing that I would do. The thing I wanted to tap into, does it align with my purpose? If it doesn't align with my purpose, then I shouldn't be doing it. So if it doesn't align with my purpose, I shouldn't be doing it. It's like if you spend your time working and just contributing to an idea that you don't believe in, then you're not going to give it your all. It kind of goes back to how we talked about operating at your 60%. And so just a tool to kind of work through that is just define, what do you like, what don't you like? If you don't know what you like, start with what you don't like. Because if you know what you don't like, then you're leaving room for what you do like to approach you, or for you to explore. So just making sure that you dive into those things. And I think the question there was like, does what I do align with my purpose? And the answer to that essentially would be yes. Because like I said, I feel like my gift is speaking. I feel like my purpose is to educate other individuals that I come across. And I feel like everything that I do, from podcasting to the education route that I choose, everything from when I started off at nursing, in the nursing field as an STNA, it's like, even as wiping ass, my purpose was to assist and serve others. So, definitely everything that I do aligns with my purpose. What is your why? I guess it's just to serve. It is to serve. Not I guess. My why is to serve. My why is to serve, and I know that because I always say that when I go through these rough patches or just through these journeys, as I go through my journey, I always run across someone who I have to share that experience with, or share that lesson that I got out of that experience, so that they don't bump their head in the same way. And so I think my why is actually to serve. And I think that's why my purpose and my why align with each other. My why in business is essentially to help other people put their pieces together. I think I don't have the answers for everybody. I cannot put on a cape and solve everybody's issues. But what I can do is help you lay out all of the options that you have in front of you and help you put those pieces together. And that's the thing that I'm excited to do. So make sure you tune into the next Truebies Guide podcast, because that's what we're going to do. I'm going to break down some tools of how you're going to put your pieces together. So Truebies, I thank you for tuning in to A Truebies Guide. Don't forget to keep your goals smart. Make them specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and timely. Make sure that you remember your most important factors is: how much money am I making? How much money am I making, and where's that money coming from? How many kids do I have? And make sure that you are putting those expenses inside of your budget. Make sure that you know your credit score. You can actually check your credit score at myfreecreditscore.com, and then you can actually pull those for free, or you can go to Experian.com and pull it for free once a year, I believe. And then you can go to all of the bureaus, so you can go to TransUnion, Experian, all of those, and you can actually pull your credit and see what's on your credit, and you can see your actual credit score. So know your credit score is a part of that. Ask yourself those same questions. If money wasn't a factor, what is it that you would be doing? And then start to see how can you start obtaining those things even without having the money to do so. And do it align with your purpose. Whatever it is that you are going for, whatever that goal is that you're going for, whatever that specific goal is, does it align with your purpose? And understand, what is your why? Does your why align with your gift, and does it align with your purpose? So like I said, don't forget to tune into the next Truebies Guide podcast. We're going to break down some tools on how you can actually define some of these things. Thank y'all for tuning in, and I'll see y'all next time.